This week on the RV podcast.
What are the biggest mistakes that you see RVers make?
A lot of times they may be in the center lane of a highway instead of the far right lane where the slower traffic should be, and they might be holding up traffic and probably just don't realize it. If I have to pass you on your right-hand side, you're in the wrong lane. You're obstructing traffic.
What truckers wish every RVer knew, safety secrets from the road.
Longtime RV supplier filed for bankruptcy last week, and RV owners are worried about finding repair parts.
How to stay warm in your RV. We have smart RV heating tips and a few cold weather mistakes you definitely want to avoid.
All this plus the RV news of the week and your questions coming up in episode 573 of the RV podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Wendland. This is my lifelong traveling companion and my bride, Jennifer. Week before Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah, and I'm so happy I don't have to cook a turkey.
Yeah, we'll be at Wendy's house for Thanksgiving.
Yes, we'll be at Wendy and Dan's and the girls.
Yep. But we will have a podcast that comes out the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and we invite you to make sure you download that and listen to it. Speaking of the podcast, if you're listening to it on audio, make sure you've subscribed and give it a nice review. We love those 5-star reviews. They really help us get the podcast out there. And if you're watching the YouTube version of the podcast, give it a lot of thumbs up, will you? And tell other people about it. All right. Hey, we want to get right into the conversation of the week. We think this is a pretty important conversation. It's with a guy named Jeff Barker. And Jeff is a professional trucker. He averages about 100 to 120,000 miles on the road every year. And he has truly seen it all. He's a Texas resident, an endurance athlete, a past RVer, and he has a passion for making the roads safer for everyone.
Now, we first met Jeff in our RV Lifestyle online group and wanted to bring him on to share some helpful driving tips from a professional driver that could benefit all of us.
In our conversation, Jeff is going to share some insights on common mistakes that RVers make while they're driving, emphasizing the importance of lane discipline and highway etiquette to ensure safety and smooth traffic flow. So without any further ado, let's listen to a professional truck driver give us RVers some advice. Well, Jeff, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Glad to help out.
Yeah. Introduce yourself a little bit by, you've been driving a lot. And tell everybody how many miles you drive a year as a truck driver.
Roughly between 100 and 120,000 miles a year. And career-wise, I've got approximately 4 million miles behind me.
I can't even begin to wrap my brain around 4 million miles. Holy cow. Well, I want to start with something that's been in the news a lot. And in particular, I just came to Indiana and I noticed a lot of activity there about foreign-born truck drivers who seem to not be able to speak English. And along with that, a lot of folks have noticed a number of the commercial trucks on the road seem to be driving much more aggressively over the last couple of 3 years. As a veteran of this, is that an accurate perception? Are we seeing that? Are you encountering that?
I'm encountering a lot of that. I mean, as far as the aggressive driving, I'm seeing a lot of people, not just in trucks, but in all vehicles in general, who will drive through a construction zone that's normally posted at 70 miles an hour, and they're looking at their GPS, going by the speed limit that it's showing on that screen instead of the posted signs in the construction zone that might be 55 miles an hour versus the normal 70. And also, a lot of the time, these guys don't know how to manage their time properly, so they try to compensate by driving too fast. And also, there is a lot of foreign drivers coming in, too. I mean, I have nothing against anybody coming here to seek a better life, but as long as they learn the language and are willing to drive safely, that helps. But unfortunately, a lot of them do drive aggressively, and their English is not very good. And by law, the law has been on the books for many years now, probably ever since I got my CDL back in 1991, that a driver who operates in interstate commerce within the United States has to be able to read, speak, and write the English language.
That's a problem if you can't read the signs, I guess.
That's exactly it. I mean, because reading the signs is a lot more important than reading what's on that GPS, actually. I mean, if you're not paying attention to posted signs, you're doomed to have a lot of trouble.
Yep. Well, let's start with this question. What can RVers learn from a professional truck driver? You've been an RVer yourself. You've owned RVs. You're running on the truck. What do we need to know as RVers that when you see them, that just you shake your head?
Well, as far as anybody on the road, I shake my head anytime I see anybody who's not able to maintain their lane properly, especially if I can usually see from my perspective in a truck cab that they're multitasking while they're at the wheel, whether it's playing with their devices, like sending or receiving a text message, or scrolling on their phone on social media while they're driving, or posting a video while they're driving. Like anytime they're holding the phone up like this, while they're driving behind the wheel, that right there is a distraction. And I've seen people even on motorcycles do it at 75 miles an hour, which is crazy. I mean, I've ridden a motorcycle myself, I wouldn't do that anyway. I mean, of course, I don't like the idea of having anything in my hands. I'm kind of like that proverbial race car driver when I'm out there, but don't have the level of aggression, but it's always focused on what I'm doing with both hands on the wheel, because I don't want any distractions out there. And of course, if you see anybody that doesn't look like they're maintaining their lane, it's like you can assume a lot of things. They might either be drunk, or they're probably distracted, or they're getting sleepy. And there's a lot of times I've had to get up next to them and blow my horn at them, get their attention, and just kind of look at them like, "Hey, what's going on, man? Are you okay?" I mean, I've done that with people in RVs as well as other trucks, cars, and of course, a lot of times they might shoot me the bird or whatever. But you know what? They know they're in the wrong when they do that.
So not being distracted as you drive. How about in general, merging and lane changing and things that RVers need to know? I mean, they don't need a CDL, but yet some of those RVs on the road are as long as those semis that you drive.
Exactly. A lot of the large RVs, like some of your Prevost conversions and whatnot, have all got air brakes on them too. So you got to have the air brake endorsement in a lot of states in order to drive something like that. But one thing I will say about merging, okay, when you're on an interstate highway, or any kind of highway for that matter, you're already on there. You've got the right of way. Anybody that's coming on an entrance ramp, they have to yield to you. But the thing about it is if I have a clear lane to my left, I'll move over as a courtesy to let them out. But legally, I'm not required to do that, but I will do it as a courtesy in order to let somebody out, especially if I see a motorhome or anything else that's not able to accelerate that fast. Just like in a truck, if I'm loaded down to 80,000 pounds, I can't exactly accelerate that fast either. So I give RVers the same respect and benefit of the doubt, knowing that they can't exactly get up there like a race car or anything like that. They have to take their time. I mean, a lot of times our vehicles can be underpowered. We're trying to pull a heavy load onto an interstate highway, get up to 65 miles an hour. So always remember that the traffic that's on the highway has the right of way. And we'll move over when we can, but we can't always do that. And there's times if I have to, I'll slow down to let somebody in if I know that I'm not going to be able to merge it safely. I'm not going to have any room on the right side. But the people that are on the ramp entering the highway have to have the legal obligation and responsibility to pay attention to the traffic they're merging into.
And that means obviously slowing down or speeding up so that you're
Yes.
not side by side with that car. So for RVers, I think the advice would be, as best you can when you approach an intersection or an area, where there's a entry ramp to the freeway,
Yeah. And
get over into the other lane if you can.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, assume that the other vehicle is not going to be able to move over for you. That way you can make adjustments ahead of time. Because if you wait until it's too late, there's like a concrete Jersey barrier on your right that's narrowing in with the highway. And guess what? You're going to be doing a lot of damage to your motorhome, probably having to climb in the back, look for clean underwear pretty quick.
Yeah. Let's talk about another area that
Okay.
RVers are confused with, and that has to do with rest areas
Yes.
on the interstates. Those areas sometimes they're marked trucks to the right, sometimes it's trucks and RVs. But what's your advice to RVers when they need to stop at a rest area, but the only place they can go is with the trucks?
Well, most of the time, the trucks and RVs do share spots in a rest area, which I'm good with. But when you have an RV that pulls in there and takes up more than one parking spot, especially when they decide to pull their slide outs out, that could be a problem. I mean, if you are in a situation where you have to pull a slide out in order to access your bedroom or anything like that, try to park along a curb that doesn't have a sidewalk on it. That way you can pull that slide out and not obstruct pedestrians on sidewalks or block another parking spot. I mean, I know, granted, there's trucks with oversized loads that will sometimes pull into a rest area, but a lot of times they'll try to park on an end spot where they're not taking up more than one parking place if they have that option, but a lot of times they may not. I mean, it usually when they're pulling oversized, they may have a designated parking area somewhere else they've already got planned within their route to park in, where they don't have to worry about being dependent upon rest areas. Like, say, for instance, a lot of truck stops are pretty accommodating for oversized loads and whatnot too. But just in general, try not to take up more than one spot. I mean, I understand sometimes you have to roll out a slide out in order to access your bedroom, but if that's the case, then maybe try to narrow it down where you're going to park at to a place that allows that, and without risking any damage. I mean, because if you have a truck pulling alongside you during the night and that slide out doesn't have any kind of lighting on it, then guess what? You're on the risk of that getting ripped off while you're sleeping.
Yeah, that's not what you want. And I think people don't understand how there are no other places but rest areas that truck drivers can use when they need to take a break behind the wheel. An RVer can pull off and find a shopping center if they have to, but for spending several hours of sleeping, that's probably something that RVers need to be more considerate of for the truck drivers who do, by law, have to take a break.
Yes, we have to take a 10-hour break after 14 hours on duty or after 11 hours of driving by law. That's DOT regulation. That's in the United States. The Canada laws are a little bit different, but the whole thing is we're kind of limited on where we can park. I mean, RVers do have more options and everything. I mean, and I know RVers do fuel at truck stops too, which I respect, and they have every right to park out there as well. But you also run the risk of somebody backing into your RV during the middle of the night when you're sleeping, especially if they're tired coming off the road, like a lot of us are after we've been driving for 10 or 11 hours at a shot. And if you don't have any lights on or anything, and you have your slide outs deployed on the sides of your camper, you run the risk of somebody with a trailer hitting it when they're backing in. And a lot of times that's not a good situation for anybody. I mean, besides that, you got to think about the noise from transport refrigeration units, auxiliary power units that have the exhaust down at ground level that could also fill the inside of an RV up full of diesel fumes. You don't want that.
Yeah, so truck stops are not the best place for an RVer to spend the night.
No, they're not. I don't recommend it at all. As a matter of fact, I myself, as a veteran trucker, prefer not to stay at truck stops. And another thing too is I drive for a large retailer's private fleet. And a lot of times, I would say about 80% of the time I'll park at their facilities when I have to spend the night somewhere. So that way I'm away from other trucks and it's quiet. I mean, I'm one of those people that don't like heat or air conditioning at night. I want to have a good quiet spot where I can open up my sleeper vents and let a nice breeze blow through, and I sleep a lot better that way. And I'm pretty sure that applies to most RVers as well too, who don't want to run their generators all night long and burn a bunch of fuel just to run the air conditioning and stuff.
Another area that RVers are sometimes having problems with is low clearance overpasses on
Yes.
highways more than the expressways, more than the freeways. But any advice there? How do you know? Sometimes you'll go by GPS, but most GPSs don't tell you the clearance things.
Well, the best thing to do is to know the height of your vehicle. I mean, not just from the roof height, but from the top of the highest point of the RV. Like, say, for instance, if you got roof mounted air conditioners, measure from that point. I mean, a lot of times you have a fifth wheel camper that may have a high point up right above where the fifth wheel hitch is. There may be an AC unit up there too. So guess what? You're probably approaching a 13-foot high clearance up at that point. Some of your toy boxes have an even higher roof line yet, especially if they're the larger ones that you can haul cars and stuff in. So definitely get to know the overall height of your unit from the highest point. Of course, with all of your antennas down, like in travel position when you're on the highway. If you got a satellite dish, you definitely don't want to try to measure that because then your height is going to be too high when you have it deployed. But if you have it down for travel, it should be down below the highest point of your roof line where you wouldn't have to worry about that getting torn off anywhere. But the whole thing is know the height of your unit and pay attention to the bridge clearance signs. That way, you don't end up stuck under. I've seen a lot of RVs and U-Hauls under low bridge clearances in major cities, especially like Chicago and New York, and some places out in Los Angeles even have low clearances too. So, I mean, you got to really know the height of your vehicle and know the dimensions of it and know where you're going. I mean, and don't depend on GPS. The best thing you can do is when you're planning your trip is get a trucker's atlas and look in the very front part. You have all your low clearance locations listed by state and by route, and you'll know where those are at ahead of time. That way, if you don't want to go that way, you can avoid that route, take a different direction to avoid that low overpass.
So the truck atlas is excellent for that, and we will recommend. In fact, we'll put a link in the description for people to look at it. And there are some RV GPS systems as well as truck GPS systems that do have those built in. Do you recommend that RVers get a truck specific GPS, or do the RV GPS systems work good?
Well, the
The Garmin's
RV
and the Magellans.
Well, the RV specific GPS systems may be a lot more helpful for finding resources that pertain to RVers instead of truckers like myself. So, as long as you find one that has got good reviews, doesn't have a history of a bunch of glitches in the software or anything, that'd be a good way to go. But whatever GPS you decide to go with, never become fully dependent upon it. Get to know how to use that trucker's atlas and use that GPS as a tool. Don't just follow it blindly, because anytime you let technology replace common sense, that's when you're asking for trouble.
Yeah. What are the biggest mistakes that you see RVers make out on the roads?
A lot of times they may be in the center lane of a highway instead of the far right lane where the slower traffic should be, and they might be holding up traffic and probably just don't realize it. And just like I would tell anybody, if I have to pass you on your right hand side, you're in the wrong lane. So the best thing to do is, like in my case, my truck's governed at 65 miles an hour. I'm going to stay in the right hand lane. But if you're going slower than me, I'm going to go around you on the left. But if you're in the middle lane, you're obstructing traffic and everything. But I mean, of course, there's times when you're driving through a major city, you want to get away from the lane that has all the entrance and exit ramps in it, just to avoid negative interaction with other vehicles, which is understandable. But don't camp out in that middle lane either. Don't camp out in the left lane or the middle lane. Try to make it a point as much as possible to stay in that right lane. That way, the faster traffic can go around you safely. And yeah, there's other things. I mean, there's a number of things that whether we're truck drivers, RVers, somebody on a motorcycle, any vehicle, we all have room for improvement when it comes to safety out here. Because after all, we do want to get where we're going safely. I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah. 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 Um, there's one problem that I have noticed a lot, particularly around our bigger cities and some of the major roads. Like I think of I-5, which I just drove coming up from Florida a couple of days ago.
Very familiar with that route.
Yeah, well, that route, that particularly around Louisville and up towards Indianapolis, there are these expansion joints in the right and the center lanes. And the only lane that is pretty clear is the left lane.
Yeah.
And those expansion joints can be pretty damaging to an RV as they go up and down every 10 feet or whatever they are.
Well, if you think I-65 is bad, have you ever driven on I-7 between Indianapolis and the Ohio state line? That's like
yes,
driving.
I have too. Yeah, yeah. Do you feel the same thing in a big truck like that as we do in an RV, those expansion joints?
Yes, I do. It's like basically in a truck, you basically feel a gum wrapper in the road when you drive over it. I mean, because trucks don't ride anything like even a one-ton pickup or a motorhome or anything of that nature. They don't ride that smooth. So we have to have air ride seats in order to compensate for it, so we don't throw our back out of alignment every time we drive anywhere. But yeah, the expansion joints can be bad. But I mean, if it's a situation where you're having to drive in that left lane, you see people coming up behind you, do them the courtesy of moving out of that lane momentarily, let them by, and then get back out there if you have to.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your spending some time and helping us get a quick idea of what it is like from your perspective as a trucker and as a trucker who also RVs. We have always found great respect for the truckers. I mean, that's a tough job. People don't understand you're away from home. You drive a long day, 11-hour days is a lot of time behind the wheel. It beats up your body pretty bad.
It does. I mean, but there's ways to maintain our health out here. I mean, I'm actually an endurance athlete myself, so I try to live a healthy life out there. But thankfully, the job I have now, I'm not gone for as long, so I can meal prep at home and take my food with me and eat better out there.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Jeff. We'll like to have you back on the podcast as we get some more of these issues. And sometimes people ask us questions, and I would much rather get your answer than our opinion. And you've got a lot of miles under your belt.
Well, you know what? I'm all about making the roads a safer and more enjoyable place for everybody. And if we all work together, we can accomplish a lot. I'm not trying to gain anything myself by doing this. I just want to make the roads a safer place for everybody. And together, we can make it happen.
We can. Jeff, you're a great interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Jeff. It was good info, especially that stuff about not hogging the middle lane. Sometimes you got to be in the middle lane, but it's not your lane of choice. You should always try and stay in the right-hand lane. Now, It gets confusing, I know, when people are merging, but did you hear what Jeff said? You have the right of way in merging situations.
You know, what really makes it tough is how many roads have we been on where the lane that we should be in is so bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. We are shaking apart our RV.
Yeah.
And if you go one more over where you're not supposed to be and you know you're not supposed to be there, it's a smooth ride and you're not shaking apart your RV.
That's a tough one. That's a judgment call because you're ruining your RV on some of those roads. I'm thinking of I-65. What's the matter with you, Louisville?
There's a lot
Crazy.
of I-65s out there.
Yeah, there are a lot of I-65s near Louisville, north of Louisville. What is the matter? It's been like that for 10 years. Fix it. Okay, enough of that. All right, we want to talk about camping. Are you tired of expensive campgrounds and crowded RV parks? Well, what if we told you there's a way to discover amazing overnight stays across the U.S. and Canada for just $49 a year? RV Overnights connects you with incredible hosts at farms, wineries, breweries, and unique roadside attractions that welcome RVers with open arms.
These aren't just parking spots. They're experiences. Many locations offer electric and water hookups, and you can often stay for multiple days. Picture yourself waking up in a vineyard in Napa, or parking beside a working farm in Montana, or discovering that quirky roadside museum you never knew existed. These are real small business owners who genuinely love meeting fellow travelers and sharing their slice of America.
We've been using RV overnights this summer and have just been delighted with the places we've stayed, like a bison ranch where we got up close and personal with some bison and had a beautiful bison pasture to camp in. Planning your adventure with RV Overnight's incredibly easy. They have a great app and desktop website. You search for your route, book your stays, hit the road.
And here's the best part. Our listeners get an exclusive 40% off their annual membership. Just use promo code RVLDEAL when you sign up. Don't miss out on this game-changing way to travel. Head to rvlifestyle.com/RV Overnights right now. And remember, use promo code RVLDEAL to save 40%. That's rvlifestyle.com/RV Overnights.
All right. Time now for the RV news of the week. And we have a lot of news this week. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history is finally over. And thousands of national park rangers and Forest Service teams are heading back to work. And the big question is, what are they walking into after 43 days of parks being mostly open but barely staffed?
And early reports are not great. At Arches National Park, people actually vandalized the rocks. Along the Blue Ridge Parkway, visitors camped where they shouldn't have camped and drove off-road, causing more damage. And we're relieved the shutdown is behind us. Fingers crossed that the rangers do not find too many unpleasant surprises as they get back on their job.
But what is the matter with people? Huh?
Oh, the lack of respect for everything. And I'm sorry, older generation, I think respect is learned at home. Parents teach that to their kids, just a respect for everything.
There does not seem to be any anymore. But hey, on the topic of national parks, there's a poll out that shows that most Americans are not on board with the massive budget cuts. 7 out of 10 people say they oppose both the recent cuts and another $1 billion in cuts for the national parks. This survey from the National Parks and Conservation Association shows pretty clearly that people care deeply about protecting our park system, and they would like to see those cuts elsewhere. But you know what? I bet every agency that's getting a cut would like to see them elsewhere.
Yeah, everybody. And I'm always like, they say this could happen. What's really going to happen? And how about if you're responsible? Everybody has a budget. You have to live in that budget. And you have to trim the non-essentials. And nobody wants to do any trimming, but to say could,
Yeah.
and maybe, to try to scare people, I don't like that.
And here's another thing when you hear stories like this. We're passing on because it's in the news, and RVers certainly do care about national parks.
Yes.
But where did this survey come from? It's a parks advocacy group. To be sure, their bias is to keep things as they are or to make them better. They're not exactly an objective survey taker. You know what I mean? So a little caution. I think everybody loves the national parks. We want to see them affected as little as possible.
I think the worst thing for our culture, what happened was credit cards. Everybody got used to living outside their budget. And we all know you got X amount of money. how are you going to spend it?
I'm shaking my head because I realize we are going to get so many people mad at us.
Everybody's going to get mad at
on
us.
both sides. We're going to hear from both of you.
Yeah.
I go back to this. A good editor said, if you get people on both sides of an issue mad at you, you probably have told it correctly. So go ahead, send us those hate letters and we'll deal with it. All right, let's move to another topic. And this one is of big interest to RVers. Norcold. They've been making RV refrigerators and RV toilets for years. They're in thousands and thousands of RVs. They filed for bankruptcy last week, and you can bet that RV owners are paying close attention. They're more than $300 million in debt. They plan to sell to a supplier of RV and manufactured housing components. Maybe they'll take some of the parts, but man, this company's been around since 1959. Probably best known for their LP gas absorption refrigerators. Now, a lot of those have been phased out with compression refrigerators and 12-volt refrigerators, but still a lot of those in RVs. A Norcold brand, you might need parts or service down the road. You're not alone in being a bit concerned about what comes next.
Yeah, that always makes you sad when a company like that is filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And then again, going back to budgets, how much does the CEO of the company make? How could they have cut back? But there's so many things that you don't know as to why a company goes bankrupt.
Okay.
I guess I'm on a roll.
You are on a roll. All right.
Can I get the Canadians mad at us? No, here we go.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, in Ontario, Canada, some RV owners say their consignment dealer turned into a nightmare. Several people told local news that after placing their RVs with Tilbury Auto Sales and RV Parts and Services, their units disappeared or the money they were owed never arrived. And police are now investigating more than 15 complaints and are urging anyone else who may have been affected to speak up. It is an unfolding story and one RV owners everywhere are watching closely. And yes, we should watch that closely. That's terrible.
People are really upset.
Oh, yeah?
They sent their RV to get sold. They said, hey, we sold it. They never got the money. The RVs are gone. And who knows what's happening.
That's despicable.
So go get them, Ontario authorities.
Get
That's not good. All right, time now for the social media buzz with Wendy Boyer. Wendy reports on all the hot issues most talked about this past week on social media and our RV lifestyle community group.
Hi, everybody. Over in our private RV lifestyle community, we regularly take surveys and polls to get a sense of what people are thinking and what motivates RVers to do what they do. And I love reading these. And so I wanted to share one with you this week. We asked the community what was the number one reason that led them to choose where to camp. So how did you choose your location? And the results were 76% said they chose based on scenic views. 19% said the weather, 0% said local cuisine, although that was a common second, third, or fourth choice, and 3% said they picked their locations based on cultural events. Now, many in the comments flushed this out even more. I thought it was very interesting. Many said they choose where to camp based on family. The campground is near their loved ones, their family members, or maybe their family wants to go to a certain spot, and so they go too. Family was really important. Another common reason was hobbies. People want to go kayaking. People want to use their electric bikes. So they may choose a location or a campground based on being able to kayak or ride their electric bikes. And many people said that they also choose the location to be near a national park, that they plan their whole camping season trying to be near a national park. So there were a lot of interesting comments, a lot to consider. Wanted to share that with you. And then over in our RV Lifestyle Facebook group, a common theme we saw last week was cold. It was cold last week. This cold spell fell across the country. Many RVers were out there camping in states and locations where it was supposed to be warm, and it got downright chilly. So we had posts about furnaces not working correctly, posts about electric heaters. And one post about an electric heater I want to share with you because it was a warning. And this came from Kathy. And Kathy found herself camping. It was cold. And so she turned on her electric heater. She said she was trying to save on propane costs, and she turned it on. She went to sleep, and then she woke up and she smelled smoke, and her electric heater was smoking. So she unplugged it quickly, but she did fall back asleep. And then in the morning, her coffee maker didn't work. Her microwave didn't work. Long story short, she got some help, and she had fried her RV outlet. It was not working at all. It was fried. And she is so lucky there was not a fire. And so she issued this warning to RVers to be careful when they're using their electric heater as temperatures dropped. And it sure got a huge conversation, hundreds of tips and comments from the community. And I'd like to share some safety tips with you. The first safety tip that came over several times was to not leave your electric heater unattended. That means do not fall asleep with it on full blast. Don't step outside your rig for a few hours and come back. As the temperatures get colder, make sure you're awake and alert to keep an eye on it. Second is be careful of your RV heater because it's a high draw appliance. And a lot of electricians gave this tip, and high draw means it uses a lot of voltage. Many said that RVs really aren't set up to handle a high draw appliance for a long period of time. Coffee makers use a lot of electricity, but they're on, they're off, they're not on for long extended periods of time. So if you are using your electric heater, just keep the setting on low instead of full blast. And then the third tip was to try other alternatives first. Your furnace really is the best thing to keep your RV warm, even if it does use propane, which costs a lot. But others suggested try electric blankets. If it's nighttime and extra cold, that could be a great solution that will keep you safe. And so just try those alternatives first. And so what about you? Do you camp when it gets cold out? Do you use an electric heater? And if so, do you have some safety tips? Let's share them and help one another. Put those in the comments. Would love to see them. And that's it for me this week. I'm Wendy Boyer, and I'll see you either in our RV lifestyle community or Facebook group.
All right. Thank you so much, Wendy. Now we want to take a brief moment to talk about something that can make or break a road trip, and that's unexpected breakdowns. We all worry about that.
Oh, we all know how expensive RV maintenance has gotten. And a transmission going out on you, or your AC unit goes out on you, this can cost thousands of dollars, which is why we always recommend our friends over at Wholesale Warranties.
We've been talking about wholesale warranties for several years now, and they're the only wholesale warranty company that we really recommend out there. They offer a very customizable protection plan that will help cover your repair bills, both big and small. And you can take your RV to any licensed repair facility in the U.S. or Canada, even mobile mechanics. And plus, their customer service team is top-notch. It makes the claims process quick and painless, so you aren't delayed in your journey.
But here's something to keep in mind. Starting January 1st, every RV ages up a model year. That means your eligibility and pricing for coverage might be changing.
So don't hold off. You want to lock in this year's lower rates, get peace of mind for your next adventure. You can get a free personalized quote today. Just go to wholesalewarranties.com/RV lifestyle. That's wholesalewarranties.com/RV lifestyle. We'll have that link in the description below and, of course, in our show notes for the podcast. And the podcast show notes can always be found at rvlifestyle.com/podcast. All right, time for the question of the week.
Okay, this question was posted on our troubleshooting and maintenance space on our rvcommunity.com, and it came from Danny. Danny asked, I got tree sap on my RV roof pretty bad, and it's been several months since it got on there. I tried several things today to get it off, but to no avail. Goof off helped a little, but only got some off after a lot of scrubbing. Any ideas how I can get this off?
My one concern about Danny's question is the scrubbing, a lot of scrubbing. That's where tree sap can be very dangerous because it can be stubborn to get off. And all RVs that are used extensively probably have some tree sap on their roofs. If it's fresh, warm soapy water with usually a soft sponge or a microfiber brush will usually get rid of it. But for stubborn sap or sap that's been on for a long time, like with Danny, you want to use mineral spirits or denatured alcohol. I think that's denatured alcohol, the same thing as rubbing alcohol. It's not the kind you drink, don't put any vodka on. But the key is to put it on with a soft cloth. Let it sit for a minute and then try and wipe it away. And you always should try and test that in a small spot first. And instead of goof off, I would recommend a product that's called Bug and Tar Remover. It's made just for that sort of stuff. And we'll put a link to it in the show notes and in the description below. It's designed, like I said, for just that, for tar removal and tree sap stuff. So test first, always do that. I posted that to answer to Danny on the community, and another member, Suzanne, then weighed in and said she had another product that she recommended, and it was called Release Cleaner. She said you just spray that on and let it do its magic, and the sap is gone. No need to rinse. I don't know. I've not used that product, but we'll again put a link to that as well in the show notes for this. I did ask a mobile tech I know and trust, and he said tree sap is not instantly destructive, but if you let it sit, particularly season after season, it becomes rock hard. It's a sticky blob when it gets warm, but it's very tough to remove without a lot of scrubbing. And that's where tree sap can really damage, because as you scrub a lot, you can damage the rubber and the fiberglass roof coatings that you have on your RV. And then my tech friend says it can also permanently stain the roof. The pictures that Danny sent didn't look terribly bad, and maybe the elements will eventually make it less of an eyesore. But my advice to Danny was, if it bugs you, get out up there on the roof and try the methods we suggested. Meanwhile, if you've ever wished you could reach out to us directly with your RV questions and hear from us and get honest help from us and from other people who have been there, then we want you to tap into a friendly group that actually lives the RV lifestyle every day. We'd like to have you join us at the RV lifestyle community at rvcommunity.com.
Now, this is where RVers gather to trade tips, share stories, troubleshoot problems, and offer the kind of support you'll never find on social media. Inside, you can message us personally, get answers fast, and learn from fellow members who have faced the same real-world RV situations that you deal with on every trip.
Plus, you get access to all sorts of members-only tools and resources, meetups, scouts, rallies, behind-the-scenes updates that you will not get anywhere else online. And all we can say is that it has been just probably the biggest blessing in the RV lifestyle for us this year, is being connected with that community. If you want connection and confidence in a place that really feels like your RV family, then go check them out. rvcommunity.com. That's where you go. rvcommunity.com. Jen and I would love to meet you and welcome you in. You can find us there. We're on all the time, and you can just instant chat us or just send us a message in the community, and we'll get back to you.
That's it for this episode. We'll see you down the road. Happy trails.